Welcome back to the universe of power. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. We are finally here to premiere week for Season 4 of Power Book 2 Ghost, and there are still several questions that have to be answered in this final chapter. In today's video, I will break down what those questions are and what answers could likely be unfolded. This season, the newest character that will be introduced who will play a huge factor in Tariq's freedom is Detective Don Carter. Other than the episode synopsis that came out a few months ago, we don't really know too much about Detective Carter's backstory other than him being an NYPD officer who was on track to become police commissioner, until his wife was killed in the crossfire between rival gangs. We also know that Detective Carter is leading the NYC Drug Task Force, and he will be focusing the majority of his attention on taking down Tariq and the Tejadas. What we don't know about Detective Carter is why he has a vendetta for Ghost, and whether or not he is corrupted within law enforcement in some kind of way. Now, I had a previous theory on how Detective Carter would be introduced this season. But after seeing the latest teaser for episode 1 that came out on Instagram, I think I may have figured it out. In the clip that surfaced online, Junior approaches Tariq and Braden in what seems to be a parking garage about the green cards that Tariq got for Obi. During their encounter, there was also someone hiding around the corner with a gun, and if I had to take a guess on who this person was, I would say this is most likely a henchman that Noma had following Tariq. This gives me the impression that Junior will be taken out in this episode. Junior may have gotten shot and survived, but Tariq may have finished the job in order to prevent whatever evidence that Junior had on him to come out. As we saw in the trailer from a few weeks ago, this appears to be the same scene. Junior's death could lead to Detective Carter coming into the picture and continuing to pick up where Junior left off in the RICO investigation on Tariq and the Tejadas. I also believe that Detective Carter will come across the flash drive that Junior had, and this could play a huge role in Detective Carter going after Tariq. I believe that Detective Carter will use whatever evidence is on Junior's flash drive to blackmail the Tejadas in some way as well. In my opinion, I don't believe that there is any kind of connection between Detective Carter's wife dying and Ghost. But I actually could see Detective Carter's wife being the female officer that was shot during Kanan's shootout with the police in his final scene. But even that theory doesn't line up with the synopsis that was given for his character. For all we know, Detective Carter's wife could have died in the crossfire of rival gangs due to a deal that Detective Carter made with them. I could see Detective Carter playing a similar role just like the adult version of Jukebox did, using his power as a police officer to receive financial gain from the streets. But on the other hand, I could see a connection between Ghost and Detective Carter in the past. Maybe Detective Carter went to high school with Ghost and Tommy back in the day, and always envied Ghost because of the money he made and the lifestyle that he had in adulthood. Detective Carter may know more about Ghost than anyone within the NYPD. I believe since Ghost isn't currently around anymore, Detective Carter will project everything that he envied about Ghost onto Tariq. But I wouldn't rule out a connection between Detective Carter and Mecca either. We really don't know if Mecca was only an informant for Blanca. Mecca could have very well been an informant for Detective Carter as well. Detective Carter could have been the main influence on Mecca turning into an informant in the first place. A connection between Mecca and Detective Carter would explain how Detective Carter knows about Tariq pulling the trigger on Ghost, as we saw him tell Tariq in the trailer. Now, I'm sure there are some who will speculate the obvious. Detective Carter could be Ghost's half-brother on his mother's side of the family that moved away after the death of their father. And when I say their father, I mean Ghost's father and Carter's stepfather. Detective Carter could have always vowed to get revenge on Ghost for their father's death. Carter could have always envied Ghost and hated everything that Ghost stood for. I could see this reveal happening, but it would have to be a final reveal type of scenario in the last few episodes of Part 1 this season. When you really think about it, there are a number of different directions that they could take with connecting Detective Carter with not only Ghost, but other characters as well. What if Effie was working for Detective Carter as a CI this entire time? Back when Effie texted the unknown person back at Choate in the OG Power series, what if the unknown person that she texted was Detective Carter? And when Effie referred to Tariq as competition, she could have just meant the competition on campus. Effie could have very well been a part of Detective Carter's task force and placed at Choate as an informant. I believe once Effie learned of Tariq dealing on campus as well as Tariq being Ghost's son, she could have brought this information back to Detective Carter. And speaking of Effie, I believe that we will finally learn this season more about her family, and maybe even introduced to her brother or her mother. We know the bare minimum about her backstory, and honestly, I have always felt like Effie was being misleading about her family's past. This season we could finally get a full circle moment with Effie, where her past gets exposed, and we learn who she really is. On a side note, I am really curious to see the dynamic of Effie and Kane's relationship this season, especially with them working for Noma. In a recent clip we saw what appears to be Noma and Kane kissing. I'm very intrigued to find out if this is all a play that Kane set up to eventually catch Noma off guard, or if they really do have feelings for each other. I know for a fact that this won't sit well with Effie when she finds this out. And this could be what causes Effie to go back and join forces with Tariq to come up with a plan to take down Noma. One thing is for sure, Detective Carter definitely has a connection with someone in power, and based off of the trailer, I get the feeling that he will not be 100% clean. You have to remember, characters have always been connected in power one way or another, whether it may be past relationships or by family. This is why I wouldn't rule out Detective Carter being related to Ghost. I also get the feeling that Councilman Tate and Detective Carter have worked together in the past, being that Tate was a police officer before getting into politics. Detective Carter may know a lot of information on who Tate was as a person and a police officer before he got into politics. And I wouldn't be surprised if Detective Carter blackmails Tate into giving up information on Tariq. What do you think the connection is between Detective Carter and Ghost? How do you see his character unfolding this season? Let me know in the comment section. Tune into my next video where I will give my final predictions for Season 4 like no other. I promise you won't want to miss this next video. And to some of my newer subscribers who may be wondering about the accuracy of my predictions, I would recommend checking out my previous prediction video that I did for Season 3 of Power Book 2 Ghost. This would give you a better idea. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to know exactly when my next video drops. See you all next time in the universe of Power.